Hello and welcome to another episode of Ricardo and Reddie. Ricardo, how are you?
Mark, I'm good. How are you? Good day today in Sydney.
It is. It was beautiful. And we're only a few days away from being able to be gathered in fives if we're fully vaccinated. So that's exciting.
Yeah, so small steps happening in Sydney. Our first guest, which we'll have on in about a couple of minutes, is going to make you very jealous because he's based in Brisbane, so things are almost pretty much normal. So we'll get to Ben in just a second.
But we also will be talking to Lauren Gordon, who is a life coach, a bit about how we're going to get out of lockdown and some of the anxiety we're feeling now because there's that October 22 deadline where we're thinking 70% of New South Wales will be vaccinated, and we're looking at going back to normal.
The dates are a bit funny. I've heard it could be October the 18th, the Monday, where it could, the restrictions start to ease in Sydney. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Exactly. But I think a lot of people are really excited by that. Certainly today, the weather was amazing. There was a lot of crowds around at the beaches today. People are really gearing up for that deadline. So let's bring our first guest in now. Oh, hold on. Firstly, I had to self-isolate this week.
And that's because you were covering a pretty important story.
Yeah, so if anyone was watching the news this week, it was actually the lead story. It took precedent over COVID. There was a missing boy, AJ El-Falak, who managed to survive 3 days in bushland, about 500 metres from his home in Putty in the New South Wales Hunter region. He was spotted by police cameras drinking muddy water from a creek to survive. Really remarkable. He's autistic and non-verbal, so it was quite a remarkable moment to be there in that time and see everyone, just so happy that he was found alive. So there was really a really nice moment because there's been so much negative news, and so we're really happy that AJ is back.
But you had to self-isolate because there were a lot of journos there and people from out of town.
And this is the thing with journalism, when you're at a story, you do have to go for the story, and there are a lot of crowds, and we all were wearing masks. I've been half vaccinated. I have had my first Pfizer shot. But of course, as a result, a lot of us had to get tested. I had to isolate for a day. I tested negative, and then I've got to test again tomorrow just as a precaution on day 5. Yeah. So hopefully that comes back negative too, because
we can talk about that next week.
Exactly. So let's bring in our first guest.
Yeah. I reminded everyone, if you've got any questions, you can ask those questions live. Send them. You can write them in the comments section of the Facebook video that you are watching at this moment. And I'll bring up the first guest, Mark. He is a small business owner based in Brisbane, and he owns a shop that pretty much sells one thing. So, Mark, I'll ask you about that one thing. Mark, do you like gnocchi?
I like gnocchi, but I feel like I have 2 bites of it and I'm full.
Right. Well, I don't think it's a problem for this small business owner. Ben Cleary-Corradini joins me now from Brisbane. Hey, Ben, how you going?
Hi, Ricardo. Good to be here. Hi, Mark.
So a bit of background, Mark. I don't know if you know, Ben and I actually went to high school in Wollongong together. And I haven't spoken or seen Ben in about 20 years. And so the way we're connected is on LinkedIn. And when I found out he's got this great small business, which is, well, it's not really small anymore. It's growing, right? I thought we've got to get you on the show. Ben, first question, why gnocchi? What do you like about it?
Gnocchi, it's a perfect Italian comfort food. It's one of those dishes, when made well, and when had with friends, it's something that's really, really enjoyable. It's comfort food. Everyone likes a little bit of comfort food. So we really got lucky in the way it became so popular up here in Brisbane. Because Brisbane's not really the type of place where, winter comfort food is eaten all year round. It's a hotter climate up here. But we introduced it at the markets. This was back in 2015. And it's just become more and more popular ever since we started.
So, Ben, you own what's called Australia's first gnoccheria. Is that how you pronounce it? What does it mean?
Yeah, that's very good pronunciation, Ricardo. So it's gnoccheria. You really have to roll it. Gnoccheria.
Leave
So
all
you've
the
heard of
pronunciations to you guys.
So you've heard of a pizzeria, right? A pizzeria is a place that just sells pizza. A gnoccheria is a place that just sells gnocchi. So when we first started the business, Theo and I, my business partner, we did a bit of research on what do you call a gnocchi house? We were going to call it the gnocchi house. And we did a bit of research, and it just so happens that in northern Italy, in very remote little villages, there's these little hole-in-the-wall sort of outlets which are called gnoccheria. And a gnoccheria is a place that just makes fresh gnocchi, and it sells fresh gnocchi, and that's all you get. You go in there, you ask for a steak, you get gnocchi. You ask for something else, you get gnocchi. So we love this concept of doing one thing, doing it really, really well, and just rolling it out like that. So yeah, gnoccheria, we've popularized the idea, and it's existed in Italy for probably hundreds of years. But we popularized the idea, and we became Australia's first gnoccheria. And we've actually, now that we've got 8 outlets, we're actually the world's first gnoccheria chain, which is something we're really, really proud of.
So we
Ben,
have a
we've got
question. What is actually in gnocchi? Or gnocchi, as you like to say it.
So potato, flour, eggs, water. Some people put Parmesan cheese in. Some people put a little bit of herbs and spices. We like a tiny little bit of nutmeg. And that's the general recipe. Other varieties might include ricotta, potato, but we stick to the really traditional gnocchi, which is basically flour, very high quality flour, high quality potato, and a little bit of Parmesan cheese.
Ben, in a few seconds, I'd be keen for you to show us around, if you can, in a moment, because Brisbane's pretty much back to normal. But first, Brisbane still had a lockdown last year. How did your business manage that lockdown?
It was really tough, Ricardo. We went from, I'll show you in a second, the place tonight's really full. But we went from a full place, like we've got an 80-seater restaurant here that's completely full tonight, to zero business overnight. And we've got a lot of staff. So at this particular location, we had about 20 staff to keep on. So we felt obliged to basically keep them going as well. A lot of the staff that we've got, and a lot of staff in hospitality in general across Australia, they're international workers. These guys we didn't qualify for JobKeeper. So they basically had to work to survive. So, my chefs here are from Italy, Nepal, Spain. My front of house guys are from Mexico. I've got the odd icon Australian running around, but it's mainly international. So we have to hustle hard to create extra revenue streams. And the way we did that is we looked around and we said, what's busy? And what was really, really busy during COVID when it first broke out was the hospitals. They were doubling up in staff. They were getting ready for the pandemic. So we contacted the hospitals. We wanted to help the front line, and we did that at a very charity rate. So that got us a lot of exposure publicly. And then that turned into a really great thing because we ended up doing this pivotal deal with the AFL teams. So the dietitians were somehow friends with the hospitals, and the AFL teams got in touch with us through their dietitians, and we started playing all the games for the West Coast Eagles, for the local teams up here, the Lions and the Suns, and all the interstate teams relocated to Brisbane. And that gave us that extra revenue stream that we didn't make up the money that we were making before, but we did certainly make enough to keep our staff on. So we didn't shed one member of staff. And we did that. And the good thing about it is it keeps going. So now we started with 2 teams, and now we've got about 5 teams that we constantly supply. The dietitian that was at the Lions when she first came on, she's moved to a netball team, so now we're supplying netball teams as well. So it's just rolling, it's just keep going, so it's great.
So Ben, are you telling me that people that play AFL look like that and they eat gnocchi? Is that what you're saying?
That's it. It's actually a lot of our customers are very athletic people. They're very they're carb conscious because they need to be carb conscious because they have to watch their diet. They know exactly when they need to carb load. So before sporting matches, before going to the gym, they come in and they carb load, and then they eat moderately for the rest of the week. They just watch the amount of carbs they bring in. So we they eat a lot of gnocchi, and and they win footy matches.
Ben, do you find it difficult to sustain a business just on one product? Because if you're just serving gnocchi, like, are you concerned that it's just one thing that you might need to kind of reinvent the wheel down the track?
We originally thought that was the case, and we thought, what else could we do? But the more we thought about it, the more we thought, hang on, we want to be a gnoccheria. We don't want to be another Italian restaurant. We don't want to be that place that does gnocchi and they've also got pizza and pasta and bistec on the menu like every other Italian restaurant. So we're very focused on strong branding, and we want to own the gnocchi space. And we've managed to do that because we've just focused on the one thing. Just like the small places up in Italy, you go to even trattorias, it's the same concept. You go to a trattoria in Italy, and you get what you're given. You don't really get a choice. You get what you're given. So we want to follow that sort of that ethos of doing one thing, doing it right, and getting creative, of course, with the menu. So there'll be different varieties of gnocchi that come in, different varieties of sides and starters. But yeah, the focus on the gnocchi is going to stay long term, Mark.
Ben, we've got a few quick questions. If you want to answer them very quickly. How long do you let your sauces cook for?
6 hours if it's bolognese. Less than 2 hours if it's a lighter sauce, a cream-based sauce.
Gavin asks, why does gnocchi sometimes have that gooey taste or feel?
There's too much of a flour mix to it, and it's overcooked. So basically, you need to cook it al dente. It's been overcooked, so it goes all chewy and gooey. Bad move.
Lara asks, how do you make them look like fluffy pieces and not make them look like stones sinking in a pond? I don't really know what that means. Do you know what that means?
So the stuff you get from the supermarket sinks in a pond like a stone because it's made up of all types of junk. The fluffiness comes from the lightness of the potato and the quality of the potato.
Hey, Ben, can you tell a gnocchi fraud?
A gnocchi what?
Like a gnocchi fraud. Like, can you tell if that's bad gnocchi? Like, how do you tell a gnocchi fraud? Like, what is it? What are the signs?
Honestly, if it looks too perfect, it's a gnocchi fraud. If it has too many grooves on the side, right? It's been mimicked to look like that. I mean, that's actually the way that gnocchi used to look like when Nonni used to do it with a fork. But if it's done like that, it means it's done in a high industrial sort of environment. When you see our gnocchi, you'll see. I'll get Jerry to show you some. They all look a little bit odd. They're not perfect. They're a bit misshaped.
Ben, you also opened up your first Sydney store only recently as we were entering lockdown. What was that like?
Terrible.
It was really tough. We opened back in July, so we actually had a week to open for dine-in, but we didn't because there was this fear sort of happening and people weren't coming out, so we just went takeaway only. But it was exciting at the same time. Getting down to Sydney, I'm originally from Wollongong, so it was great. So I could go and visit the family a lot, and I'm just excited about and staying optimistic. I mean, we're all going to come out of it. We're going to be dining out sooner or later, and I'll be able to go visit my family down in Wollongong, which will be great.
Hey, Ben, can you take us a bit on a walk? Because in Sydney, we haven't seen a restaurant in like years. So can you just take us around, like introduce us to people? Like we're really living for this moment. Jerry, get Jerry in.
This is Gerardo. Gerardo,
hey, Jerry.
The manager. We're going to go on a tour. Let's go on a tour.
Jerry, you're live, by the way.
You're live. Yeah, you get a glass of wine. Here. Glass one. Gerardo, here. This is actually really Ricardo. Can you?
Yes, mate.
This is my cousin Nick, who came in with his girlfriend for the first time. I haven't seen him in a couple of years. He's young. He's only 16. Okay.
16. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Go. Yeah. Hey.
This is the main area with the screen.
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk to this guy. Who's this guy?
Let's go at the front. Show them the markets at night.
Okay, so is this legal?
Yeah, stop there.
Okay, welcome to Gnocchi. Oh, wow, that's welcome to Gnocchi.
And where in Brisbane is this?
This is South Bank.
South Bank. Okay.
South Bank, just on the river, Parklands.
Hey, Jerry, start talking to someone.
Jerry, start talking to a random
Let's
customer.
talk to a guest. Yeah, put them on. Are you guys on a first date?
I don't think they can hear you, Mark.
No, they can't hear me.
There's Lucille. There you go.
There we go. She's got a mask.
She's on a break. Get back to work.
I'm on a break.
Oh, this is in the kitchen.
That's amazing.
Wow. This is amazing.
Can you see what's going on here? We're just saucing up the
Yum.
gnocchi. This is the wild mushroom and truffle, very popular dish. We've got all the tickets going on. This is the view for the chef. He gets to see the whole restaurant.
Are they stressed?
They're pretty calm under pressure, these guys. Yeah. We'll show
Hey,
you
Ben,
the
that was-
takeaway. Yep.
Let's have a look at the takeaway.
Yeah, takeaway is pumping tonight. Hello. Yep. Uber Eats are coming in, left, right, and center.
Yeah.
If you guys want to buy one of these t-shirts, it's only 35. We can ship it free.
Did you live in Sydney?
You're in Newtown.
Yeah, Newtown. All right.
Hey, Ben, thank you so much, mate. It's good to see your business doing well. You've made us very jealous with what's going on in Brisbane.
All right. Good to see you, Ricardo. May I say that I'm very proud of you. And my mum always says, that guy used to be your school captain. I'm like, yeah. And I tell my wife, Ricardo, I used to go to school with that guy. I know that guy. So I'm really proud of you, man.
Thank you.
Hey,
and
Ben.
now I can say I know the guy that's got this great gnocchi place that's expanding really quickly. So congratulations.
So Ben's obviously an SBS viewer. Thanks, Ben. I won't hold it against you. Take care.
See you, Ben.
See you, Mark.
Bye-bye. I love that. I want to go out for
That's
dinner.
fantastic. I
I'm
know.
starving.
That vibe. Don't you miss that vibe of going to a restaurant that's buzzing? That's what Brisbane's like at the moment. So it's like it's a different nation.
It's coming. That's the past, and the future's coming. So,
but you've been up and down like over the past few weeks, and I think you sent me this video that you wanted to play before we get to Lauren about the emotional roller coaster as we go through COVID. Shall we take a look?
yeah.
I'm you, man. Not great. I won't lie, not great. I have. It's going in now. It'll be in now. No, I'm ever so sorry about that. Thank you. Oh dear. You need to listen. Stop it. Stop it now. Come on, calm down.
You're not going like that, are you?
I am, thank you very much, lady. I'm going to collapse. No, I don't. I feel faint. Whew. I'd seen a spin after that.
How much have you had to drink?
Excuse me?
How much have you had to drink?
I've had nothing to drink. Oh. Just need a bit of space, if that's okay. Yeah.
The things that have stood out for me on that is dressing up for the supermarket. It's a vibe. And also how much have you had to drink? Because I feel like the margaritas are much stronger at home. And I feel like I'll go to a bar and I'll have a drink of like, this is watered down. Have you put a shot in there? But anyway, I love that video. It just captures everything we're feeling. It's fantastic.
And speaking of feeling, this might be a good chance to introduce our next guest, Mark.
So Lauren Gordon, hello Lauren, is a life coach based in Sydney, and she's doing wonderful things for mental health during lockdown. Lauren, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
So Lauren, we obviously have this sort of October 22nd, 18th deadline of we're going to reopen. My initial feeling of this is that I'm quite anxious about it, even though obviously we've all been looking forward to going back to normal. But is that a normal feeling? Are you hearing that?
Yeah, there's absolutely something called post-lockdown anxiety, and we all suffered from it last time. And if you think about it, you're going from your very controlled environment where you know that you've sanitized, you know that your apartment's clean, you know who you've been with, you know you've been jabbed, or whoever you've been with has been vaccinated, going out into the big wide world, and there's going to be a lot of things out of your control. So if you think about it, focus on what you can control, wear your mask, practice social distancing, and take it slowly. Like, you don't need to go out for like a long dinner to start with. Go grab a coffee, sit in a cafe, meet a couple of people, just take it at your own pace. And I think just remember, you can only control what you can control. Sorry, my dog decided to join.
Introduce us to your dog.
Say hi, Lewis.
Oh, he's so cute.
And you know what? You've done it before. You can absolutely do it again. So, I think I'm going out of camera. So I think, yeah, the anxiety is normal. It's very normal. We all felt like it before.
And Lauren, what is a life coach?
Okay, so Mark, it's quite easy to explain. If you think a sports coach enhances a sportsman's performance, a life coach enhances your life performance. So what my speciality is, I work with adults who want to undergo big life changes or have come to like a crossroads in their life, and they know something needs to change, but they don't quite know what. I help them identify what areas need to be changed, shift any limiting beliefs, and then support them on their journey of change and equip them with the tools to manage that, because change is difficult and change can be hard. So if you have someone supporting you and keeping you accountable, you're more likely to succeed.
And what kind of demand is there for those kind of services during a pandemic or a lockdown?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I've had to pivot because nobody really wants to make massive life changes at the moment. When the future is so uncertain and we feeling so uncertain, it's probably better not to make any big life changes. So I've been doing a lot of groups with small businesses, motivational, kind of team bonding, addressing issues that they're facing when they haven't been working and those kind of challenges. But generally, everybody through the last lockdown realized that life is very valuable and life balance is crucial. So a lot of people wanted to reevaluate where they were going with their life and create a better balance. So yes, there is generally a demand.
And what are some of the main areas of life that people come to you about? Is it more heavy on the relationship side, or is it the career thing? What are the main things that really draw people to you?
A lot of it is career, because I think people have realized that it's okay to decide at whatever age you are that maybe you haven't taken the right career path and you want to undergo a change. It's just life is too short to do something you don't want to do, the same as a relationship. But also some people are afraid to leave a relationship because the relationship has kind of become their identity and they feel like they can't manage on their own. So it's about reconnecting with who you truly are, your self-worth and your values. And also people whose kids have grown up and, they've been a wife, they've run a household, husbands that discovered golf, kids have gone off to uni, and it's about the mum reconnecting with who she is and living the life that she chooses for herself and actually knowing she is something outside of being a mum and a wife.
Lauren, we're now in, I think, week 11 or 12 of lockdown in Sydney anyway. At least we now have a goal. We now know at 70% double dose fully vaccination in New South Wales, there'll be some major restrictions eased. So now we've got a date. We've got potentially 5 or 6 weeks until we get there. How do we cope?
Okay, so I think just the fact that we see the end, we have a light at the end of the tunnel, is already going to boost people. I think keep focusing on small goals, things that you can achieve within the time, things to keep you motivated. It's really, really important. I read a fantastic article in the New York Times. This blah feeling that everybody's feeling due to the pandemic, where you're feeling like kind of just disconnected and stagnant, is called languishing. So it is a real thing. And the idea is to find your flow. And I actually spoke about it a lot on my social media recently. finding your flow is being so involved and absorbed in something that you love that you actually lose yourself in it. So it's giving yourself that carved out time to focus on something you love. You know, it might have been something you've done years ago or something you forgot that you really loved, and just doing something that you enjoy. So really keep your focus, keep a structure, do exercise, whatever that may be, keep doing your walks, keep connected with people, and we're almost there. You've done it. The end is coming. Just keep pushing, because we're going to go back to some kind of normality soon, and let that be a big motivator for you.
Hey, Lauren, I want to ask you a personal question for myself. I've had a friendship breakdown during lockdown, and I found that very, very difficult to manage. And it's almost like people are not in their true selves right now, and it's kind of coming from all different directions. How do you manage relationships when you don't know exactly what people are going through in this lockdown, and how do you navigate that?
You know what? I think, Mark, everybody has kind of lost connection with who they really are at the moment. I think we've all been knocked about a lot. So to think any relationship or to end anything right now, I just think it's a false end as such, because I think it's important just to kind of come back home to yourself, reconnect with your values, be grounded, try not to act stressful, just try to manage things that you can control. If things are worrying you, talk about it, write about it, get it out of your head, just be present. And I think maybe just give the person some space. And when everybody has kind of gone back to normal and been able to reconnect and reground themselves, is a better time to have a conversation. Everybody's dealing with a lot at the moment, and lockdown has impacted us all in so many different ways. So people can also act very much out of character.
Lauren, let's talk about some of the things you like to do in lockdown. How important is fitness for you?
It's very important. I did.
Looking like a snack.
I was, thanks, Mark. I was wondering if I could bring in the word snack. I have done some home workout, but I'm very fortunate that my trainer has taken his sessions outdoors. I think I have cultivated some pretty fine cacti on my balcony. I have been connecting with friends on video calls, friends doing walks, and just enjoying the beautiful scenery within the 5Ks that I can. And also, I'm very fortunate that I have a part-time job in advertising. And for a couple of weeks, we got sent amazing care packages. Like on the left was chocolate-covered frozen fruit. So I've just kind of been focusing on things that make me happy and bring me joy, which my dog usually does, but I'm about to start this evening.
Lauren, there's one thing that I've got to in my life where I feel like I've got to a point where I'm happy with everything, and you know, my career goals have got to a point where I'm happy with anything. I don't need to climb the ladder anymore. Is it okay just to kind of coast along?
Absolutely. Remember, success is different for everybody. Honestly, being happy and having a balance is your success and is the success. Just having the title and being unhappy just because everybody else is doing it or you thought that was the thing to do, absolutely, you're doing yourself a discredit. You're doing yourself a disservice. Stay true to you. Do what makes you happy, and just balance is everything. Honestly, like, yeah, titles are important to some. They don't need to be important to you.
And Lauren, maybe also a lot of people aren't necessarily they're struggling with these lockdowns, and I don't know how much you can go into it, but how important is an organisational service like Lifeline?
I'll tell you something interesting. Back in August, on a Monday, they took 3,556 calls. It's the highest call rate they've had in 58 years. So it is incredibly, incredibly important. And you don't need to have suicidal ideation or suicidal thoughts. You can just be feeling stress, anything that's impacting your mental health. We'd rather you called Lifeline than got to a point of really being in crisis. So it's really important to talk about how you're feeling. It's so brave. And it's a very non-judgmental space where it's sometimes easier to talk to an anonymous person than it is to a friend.
I agree with that. I actually called Lifeline a few years ago during a relationship breakdown. It was about 4 or 5 years ago. And it's incredible because they don't say anything. It's just, you just talk to a stranger about, you don't even know where you're going with it, but it's a really interesting service. And like you say, it isn't for people who are at the really bad end. It can be for anyone who's kind of struggling. And I think that that's something that the message always doesn't come across like that.
Yes. And you hit on two amazing things. They listen, because we all listen to answer. So while the person's talking, we've actually stopped listening to what they're saying because we're starting to think about how we're going to answer. At Lifeline, it's all about active listening. So we really let you talk. We give you the pause to gather yourself, to think about your train of thinking. And it's that non-judgmental, like nobody's going to go, oh, or like, oh, you know what happened to me, which people do, your friends do, because that's the only way they know how to do it naturally. So it's an absolutely incredible service where we are trained to listen. And, it's a safe space because, it's not going to go anywhere.
And that number is 13 11 14. If anyone wants to reach out, 13 11 14. Lauren, maybe if we wrap up with a positive piece of information. So when we all wake up tomorrow, what is one thing we can all do to set ourselves up positively for the day?
I think gratitude is the most underrated activity. Honestly, the fact that you've woken up, open your windows, open your curtains. It's going to be a beautiful day. Just be glad that you can get out. We've got the sunshine. You can see beautiful scenery. And honestly, in Sydney, we're very, very lucky. So I say just practice gratitude. Find one or two things you're grateful for and just enjoy that and just be present. Take some time off of your phone. Don't scroll through negative pages. Don't surround yourself with negative people. Your energy is yours. Spend it wisely and don't waste it on things that are going to upset you or people that don't deserve it.
And Lauren, are you a Gnocchi fan?
Oh my God, yes. Oh, absolutely. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I love that sauce. I just thought it made me so hungry. And I thought about the average dinner that I've got to eat after this. And I was like, ew.
I know, exactly. I feel unsatisfied on so many levels right now.
And that vibe, how good did it look? Everybody out and about, people walking, laughing.
We'll be there soon.
Yeah, we will, absolutely. And remember, guys, we've been through it before. You came out of it. We were almost back to normal. You can definitely do it again.
Oh, Lauren, thank you so much. It's been so nice to have you on. And Lewis as well. Get Lewis
is going to get such a whack after this show.
And he was well behaved.
Thanks for having us.
See you, Lauren. Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Some great tips there, Mark.
Some very good tips.
We should remind everyone.
Go on. Yeah, so yeah, if anyone wants to, so we're coming to an end because this show is going to end, and rightly or wrongly, it's going. So we've got a few more weeks left. So if you have any story ideas or any people you want to get on, email us, spam us, DM us, Grindr us, Tinder us, everything.
To Mark.
We want to hear your stories. So the main page is facebook.com/Ricardo&Reddie. Send us a message. We'd love to.
The email address is ricardo&reddie@gmail.com. Mark, thank you. See everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.